Welcome to a year-ending episode of Monday Movie Pickup. Alright, so I have 3 releases here from Shout Factory. These are all Shout Select releases, and all of them are going out of print. So I've been paying attention to the going out of print sales that Shout has been posting, and I was shocked to find that there's even more Shout Select releases. This is the 89th release, so they didn't do this one all too long ago, but there you go. The Matthew Broderick film Biloxi Blues is going out of print, so if you want to get it, this, I suppose, is your last chance to get the movie from Shout Select. I don't know why some of these more recent releases have been going out of print so fast, it seems like anyway, but in any case, any reason for me to keep growing my Shout Select collection, I won't pass it up. Here is The Great Waldo Pepper. This is the 91st release from Shout Select. And another thing I should point out is that this one may already be removed from the Shout Factory store. I had to buy this one off of Amazon while it was still in stock because I had actually missed this one. This one was going pretty quick, and I don't know if it's going to be restocked. Some of these releases, as you can see, don't have much for special features, but here's a great one. The Missing, the Ron Howard film. Yes, this one is also going out of print. This is actually the 109th release, so right now they're up to about like 160, 170 for their spines, so the fact that, yeah, these are going out of print really fast, it seems like. But what's cool about this release is that it has a theatrical cut and the extended cut. I have praised companies before for putting out both cuts on the same release. That should be the standard, and Shout Factory usually does a good job of that. Kino does a great job of that, and it's great to see that there's like a lot of other movies that are finally having their different versions released on Blu-ray or 4K. Like Amadeus, finally, the director's cut is going to be released on 4K. It doesn't sound like it's including the director's cut though, so kind of frustrating. I get they did only the restoration to the theatrical cut, and I think a lot of people are happy for that. But at the same time, the fact that that set's coming out still not exactly complete because it's not going to include the director's cut, the one that's been widely available for years anyway, it's frustrating. But let's move on now to the Film Masters. This is a collection of movies that I've been happy to pick up. Some very strange titles, and this one is no exception because this actually comes from Something Weird Video. So you can see the titles on there: Common Law Wife, Jennie, Wife, Child. Yeah, these are exactly as the label implies, Something Weird. But yeah, I didn't even realize that Something Weird was teaming up with the Film Masters for some of their films that they own. I think they're going digital only, but I guess they're going to be licensing out some of their titles to other companies to release, because I believe Something Weird no longer does physical media. I think they might have gotten out of the game. I think they sold what was left of their stock. Something Weird has a huge cult following. I don't have much for Something Weird titles because I didn't really look into the sales that they had when their store was closing. But it's interesting that I now have something from Something Weird Video, and as I always say about these Film Master releases, I just love the fact that they come with these booklets. So many details in here about the movies, and about movies that a lot of people have mostly forgotten. So the fact that, you know, the Film Masters is out there preserving some of these lesser known movies, controversial movies maybe, I think that's great. We have here The Swiss Conspiracy, another one from the Film Masters, released in 1976, you know, has David Janssen, the original actor from The Fugitive. The Swiss Conspiracy does kind of make me think of The French Connection, so I guess it was maybe a bit of a rip-off of that movie. Still, looks like an interesting one. And you gotta just hand it to Film Masters, taking these lesser-known movies and giving them almost the Criterion treatment with these write-ups, and just makes watching the movies all the more entertaining, because then you get to learn about what makes this movie so special, why it's a cult movie, why maybe it hasn't been treated the best in recent years. It's great to see all these movies finally hit Blu-ray. And then one more, we have Tormented, and I gotta hand it to Film Masters for including the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode with the disc when they can. So there was a Mystery Science Theater episode of Tormented, and I'm glad that it makes this set all the more complete. And again, just these write-ups. These are so fun. This should be what is expected of all the boutique labels at this point. I haven't heard the general consensus for a lot of these movies as far as like how people feel about the film transfers, about the discs. I haven't really heard much chatter about it, but I've been happy with just everything that I've received so far. It also looks like they're starting to do like limited edition releases, so I'm keeping an eye on those. But yeah, not too many releases, but definitely a collection that I want to keep up with. I'm very happy with it. And then we had the Kino sale. So Brick is one that I have been passing up so many times at the Kino sale that they have every year. They have them throughout the year, but also more importantly during Christmas, they have like some of the best deals. This is the first film, I believe the first film that Rian Johnson released. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it, and it's one that I've just been passing up for way too long because I love Rian Johnson. I've seen almost all his movies, but I've just kept skipping Brick. We have here Dr. Cyclops. So this is a Universal movie, sometimes considered part of the Universal horror line, the classic Universal horrors. And as you all know, I've been trying to get all those movies from the various boutique labels that have the rights to the movies. So Dr. Cyclops is one of them. Fletch, Chevy Chase. Do I need to say more about this movie? Everybody has pretty much seen this movie, except for me, weirdly enough. There's been other sequels. There's also been like a more recent Fletch movie that had John Hamm in it. That's one that I haven't seen as well. So yeah, haven't seen much of Fletch at all. So I figured it was about time. I finally got the movie, and I'll give it a watch. This is an odd one, Fluke. Yeah, so this is in the Kino Studio Classics line. What makes this a studio classic, I don't exactly know, but I had a VHS of this movie for many years, but it was just a VHS. It had no, there was no slipcase with it. There was no, like, clamshell case or anything. It was just the VHS tape for many years sitting on my shelf. I did not know that this actually had a Blu-ray release, and I haven't been showing the disc art because Kino kind of lacks in that department, so they all end up looking like this, but, yeah, it's even interesting. Yeah, they have an audio commentary from the director, so kind of a forgotten kids movie, but it was one that I still needed to upgrade from VHS all these years later. There's still a couple VHSs in here that I still need to upgrade to DVD or Blu-ray. The Land Unknown, another one from Universal. Not much more to say about it beyond that, just to point out that this one is also from Universal, sometimes considered part of the Universal horror line. This one's looks like it's more close to sci-fi, but that ends up being the case for a lot of these movies. I don't know exactly who makes these lists. I follow one that's on the Blu-ray form that I know is derived from other like Universal books, but how many of them are actually like horror versus like a mystery or sci-fi? Who knows? This is one I've been skipping for quite a few years. Strike. This was a movie I actually watched in film school. Has a lot of neat editing tricks, some of the first of its kind that were put on screen. And obviously a pretty important movie for what it was at the time. And a movie that I haven't really gone back to since the film school days. But this one actually does have some disc art and some art inside the case, so that's cool to look at. And it comes with some short films as well. And last but not least, another one from Universal Horror Supernatural. Wow, 64 minutes. Sometimes the best part of these movies are the short run time. 64 minutes to get through this. Of course, no disc art, but getting really close to completing my entire Universal horror collection. At least the early days of horror, whatever is considered by some of the Universal film historians. At least what they get to call it, I guess. I don't know. Again, the lists, it gets bigger and bigger as you start to talk to more people. Some people just keep it to the Universal Monsters. Some people will start including the Inner Sanctum movies, and then some of the other horror movies that, you know, featured their stars, and some people only like to go by certain dates. But then some people go as far as to go into like the 50s and the 60s. And those are the movies that I'm kind of looking for. I'm trying to look for anything that can be considered classic Universal horror. But that is everything for this week. That also caps off the year 2024. So we'll be looking for more stuff next year. I already have stuff on the shelf that I just didn't get to in this episode. So technically I already had that stuff. But I didn't want to go on for too long. Have a happy new year, and thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the video, and special shout out to Anna, Kirsten, Spencer, and Lucas for supporting me on Patreon. By joining my Patreon, you'll be able to get some exclusive videos, some different vlogs in the future, and you'll be able to request your own movie review. I hope you stick around, Cinephile, and have a happy, productive day.